stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Please take your seats. Roll call, please.
Ister. Savage.
Here.
Brosious.
Here.
Brumbaugh.
Here.
Troup.
Here.
Two additions to the agenda, one of the hiring of a part-time police officer, and the other for the sale of the old Turkey Hill property. Do I have a second to add to the agenda?
Savage.
Yes.
Brosious.
Yes.
Brumbaugh.
Yes.
Troup. Ister.
Is there any public comment at this time on agenda items only? Is there any public comment at this time on agenda items only? All right, moving on to code enforcement update, Councilman Brumbaugh.
Okay, we have a report here from the last quarter of 24, and we have the report here for the last quarter of this year, 25. Last year, the income was $24,944.15. This year, we've just about tripled the last quarter, $60,022.03. And it's 99% of it is because of the two folks sitting in the back here. Lisa and Vince, would you stand up, please? I want everybody to know, these two code officers up here work long days and unbelievable amounts of work that they get done. But I personally, because I'll be leaving soon, want to thank you, because if it wouldn't be for yous, Jeff and Robin, this would have never been this way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Jim, I want to thank you, sir, for taking the interest like you did in the last couple of months. Some people just wrote it and cut their paycheck. You got active, you got very involved in it, and thank you for that.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Anything else, Councilman Brumbaugh? Or do you have anything else, or should I move on to the police update?
Well, I'll tell you what. As you know, my term is coming to an end. There'll be a new gentleman up here sitting in this seat. But I'd like to thank everybody that helped. I come into this blind, folks. And I just want to thank everybody that has helped. I got help from everybody up here in the council. Jeff, I don't know if he's up here, he's babysitting. Jeff and Robin both have been a great help in the code office since it's so short-staffed. I want to thank my family. They supported me throughout this. And although my time in council is ending, don't be surprised if I'm not back here in 2028. And it's been a pleasure for serving, and hopefully in the future I can be up here again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jim. Moving on, police update, Chief.
Yes. So in the month of November, officers handled approximately 577 incidents. There was 133 traffic stops and 40 individuals arrested in the month of November. Currently investigating two open major crimes, one being the stabbing for 3rd Street, and the other one would be the robbery at 3rd and Market. Other than that, everything's pretty much on key. Things are going good. Transitions are going good. besides that, that's about it.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Moving on to old business, the Intertech equipment purchase. I'm just gonna turn this over to the controller real quick because I know he went around for the equipment and stuff, so he can speak about that.
So, Nathan and myself and I don't remember. Dan went around, we reviewed everything. The only place we did not, well, two places we actually did not go physically see was the skating rink and DPW, but we talked to Kevin and Jim and got their opinions and their blessings on everything, so we're all good to go. I think we're at a good spot now, and I would recommend that we do the payment for the down payment, which will amount to $96,140.05. And then that'll leave a balance of about $40,000. This total amount is $137,328 for all the IT work that needs to be done, including the setups, the new software, we're moving everybody to Office 11, right? Yep. So, I think we're okay.
Good to go. Any questions for either Nate or?
Yeah, Nate, I asked Nathan to come in case there's any questions anybody had.
Questions, anyone?
Yes.
All right,
So
so,
total is 96,140.
so I'm just gonna make a motion before I make a say to pay the full amount, but going first with the deposit, then once everything's done, then pay the full amount. That means the remaining balance.
Yes, and the issue about getting it done today is because we're shooting for about the third week of January to be able to come in and have everything set up so that we can pull the trigger to do away with
Internet. All right.
That's a good time to do it.
Yeah, we're hoping that everything will be done before the contract actually expires. We'll do that. And there is one other addition to the phone system. We added it's called Sidecar. What it is, it's a device that goes onto the phone for Renee. I'm not good with names, so I don't see enough. So anyway, on Renee's phone, that she'll be able to see everybody in the back whose phone is ringing, instead of trying to guess whose phone is ringing, and then be able to answer it when necessary.
All right. Questions, anyone?
And that's $165.
So I'm just adding that to what I'm paying with
That's
the information?
gonna be separate, right? Nate?
It would be a separate quote.
Okay, so it'll come separate to me?
Correct.
Yep,
Okay.
the quote is here. We have it.
Oh, that's on the other side, right? 30%, right?
What was
Then
the
I can
total?
take care of that.
What was the total? Was it 137,328? Was there any pennies?
137,328.64 is the
64.
total amount of the bid.
Okay. And then obviously
Not the bid, quote.
the quote, yeah, okay. Any other quote?
And the
60.
down payment is $96,130.05.
Okay, got it. All right, any questions for anyone?
And I just want to add one other thing, Nathan and Dan and I talked about this, and the other thing that's very important is that, and they confirmed it, all the data, we own all the data, so that if something would happen, that we would do away with Internet, okay? They would be able, we would have access to all our data, which is very important.
Of course. All right.
And the passwords.
Well, passwords we control.
We think, we thought. Anyway,
All right. All right, anyone else have any questions? All right, so I'll make the motion to proceed with the purchase, with the overall purchase of the total amount of $137,328.64. We're then paying the deposit, then the remaining balance deposit of $96,130.05. Do I have a second?
Savage.
Yes.
If there's any questions, please ask me now, so that we're not caught off guard, or you guys don't understand something before. Anything? Andrew? Before we get, just, I don't want to go through the
Who's
one.
taking lots, right?
If we have to. So if there's any questions, please ask me now, so we can clear it up with Nathan.
Continue, Robin.
Brosious,
Yes.
Brumbaugh,
Yes.
Troup,
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
All right, and then I make the motion for the additional, was it, Spank, was additional service or just additional purchase of something for the $165 for the
It's called
phone?
a sidecar.
All right, so the purchase, was it,
Piece of equipment.
so the equipment for the sidecar of $165, so I have a second.
Is it, I'm sorry, can I?
No, go ahead.
Is that, the 165 is a flat fee?
5 feet. Yeah, it's just the purchase of the module itself. It's basically just a module that says, that connects to her phone. That will light up, it has all phone numbers in it, it'll light up whoever's phone is ringing.
So Mayor, I'll second your motion.
Thank you, sir.
Brumbaugh.
Yes.
Troup.
Yes.
Ister. Savage.
Yes.
Brosious.
Yes. All right, moving on to the adoption of the comprehensive plan that has been down at City Hall in my office to review and also online review. Does anyone have any questions before we vote? All right, so I'll make the motion to adopt the comprehensive plan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Brumbaugh.
Yes.
Troup.
Yes.
Ister. Savage.
Yes.
Brosious.
Yes. Go ahead, Councilman Savage.
I will just make a motion that we approve the second reading of the 2026 budget.
Second.
Troup.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
Savage.
Yes.
Brosious.
Yes.
Brumbaugh.
Yes.
All right, moving on to new business, the part-time police officer. Chief, I don't know if you could speak about who the new person is be coming on here at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, so what we're looking to do is bring on a part-time officer, kind of work it the way we've been working with officers, except for the ones we sent to the academy. But bring them on part-time and see how it works out for a certain period of time. The officer that we'll be bringing on is Alexa Williams. She just completed the academy in December, the beginning of December. Will be coming basically in January 2026. Not the exact start time because we still have some stuff, but looking for conditional offer for part-time.
Questions for the chief, anyone? All right, so I'll make the motion to bring on part-time officer Alexa Williams at the hourly rate for part-time police officers. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Troup.
Yes.
Ister. Savage.
Yes.
Brosious.
Yes.
Brumbaugh.
Yes.
Moving on to, also the addition is the Turkey Hill sale. I'm going to turn this over to our solicitor for more information.
All right. As everybody knows, we had filed a taking to take the building that formerly housed the Turkey Hill. That was consummated recently by an order of court that gave us 60 days to pay the appraised value of the property, which was $250,000 and change. So what we are going to do, my understanding is that we're going to pay the $250,000 immediately upon receiving the okay from the court, which will be very quick, I'm sure. We would list the property for sale. I'm going to suggest that it be done through a closed bidding process with a minimum bid of whatever the council may decide to use as a minimum threshold and get that property up for sale. We will then have a period of time prior or post-sale to do all the documentation necessary for a closing, and the property will then be sold. So basically what I need is someone to make a motion to pay the monies that are set forth by the court in order to obtain full ownership of that building property.
Questions, anyone?
Let's talk about where the money's coming from.
Nate, Kevin, Lisa, but I know there had to be some conversations on where it's going to come from, so where's it going to come from?
Well, so there's a couple different aspects, right? So we want to make sure if we use any sort of existing money that will not report ourselves for the beginning 3 months of next year when tax revenues is lowest, right? So we spoke about using some capital reserve, capital outlays, but also potentially mixing in, Kevin, do you want to say?
Mixing some of the January, February expenses money in with capital outlay, and then in turn, when the property get sold, and Joel thinks it's gonna be a pretty quick turnaround for us, when we replace that money back in there. No, don't put it anyplace else but right back where we got it from.
I think we all agree upon that. What do you think, other than the cost of the purchase to the county or to the court? What extra, is there any fees that you can see additional? We're gonna send a bid on this thing.
Right, we'll have to set a bid and probably do that the first meeting of the new year, okay, to set the amount, because we'll have full ownership by that time. My suggestion is let me run the numbers in full, because I'm not sure about transfer tax. Normally, we don't pay transfer tax, but we may have to because of how we took this property. The other thing's going to be, my understanding is I had talked to the solicitor for the county tax claims. They were going to waive everything that was due to the county as far as taxes. I want to solidify that and also speak with the school about the tax situation, and then we'll have a definite number. So I want to cross all those Ts and dot all those Is before I actually answer that question.
Yeah, I mean, also with all due respect to our school board counterparts, like it's the school taxes that are gonna jack up the price on the tax, overdue tax.
Well, unless it's waived.
Unless it gets waived, but I mean, like,
Right,
that could be a hefty price, that could probably $10,000-$20,000.
right.
Okay.
But eventually it's gonna, you know, obviously, in theory, it's gonna be put back on the tax road as soon as we sell it, so if they waive it, so you're gonna benefit them in the long run if we do sell it.
So we might make sure everything's waived beforehand, so we don't.
That's what I'm talking about. Yep.
And of course,
Those are
We
normal
want to run as
closing
soon as
costs,
possible.
something like that?
No, there won't be closing
So
costs.
they won't have the normal extras that we would have to.
No, the only closing cost for a seller is half of the real estate transfer tax, which I think, you know, yeah, I'm gonna check on, and the cost of the deed, which I just do as part of my job. So, no, I
We
don't,
get a good part of that back anyway.
Right.
transfer tax.
right,
You know, we just waive our part of it.
so, any other questions?
That has been a concern. We talked over whether it was going to be that, or if we did short term.
Is that gonna strap us if we take 125 out of January, February?
Well, I mean, it's gonna be, what, 60 days until after the auction till we get our money. So the question is, do we have enough in our reserve to make it to the beginning of tax season come beginning of March?
Well, at least we get us to March, probably 250. maybe.
How much do we have, how much do we have?
We have enough, but it's gonna cut it very close.
Well, I mean, what's enough? Is enough like 200, is enough like 150, or, you know, what's enough? So we kind of have an idea.
There would be enough to purchase the project,
I mean, with the capital outlays and the beginning of 2026.
yes, there's enough to cover the purchase. About probably about 250-ish.
So I mean, is that 250 of everything that we have, or is that, we have 250 in, so we have our outlay, which is one set of money, and then the 250 that's set aside for the beginning of the year. So is that 250 what we have setting in the beginning of the year, that we're gonna take 125 of that 250?
We will have a little bit, we will have a little left for an affluent emergency. Is that what you're asking me?
No, I just wanna know, you said we have 250, so is that
We
two,
have 250 in our January taxes.
okay,
So
so,
we have,
oh, that makes sense.
I was just trying to, yeah.
Yeah, so do we have enough in the capital outlays for the 125? Okay, then, so in theory, we'll have about 125 left until we get paid 2 months later. So we need about, Kevin, how much, I mean, not to due respect, how much do we need to get to about March?
You're gonna figure by about probably 200,000 account payable, and probably three pays in January, that's another 21, so you're gonna need about $600,000 for this to get through March. But then again, you're looking at, you know, hurricane money, you know, for rent, for reimbursement.
The fees, yeah.
County and city, you're gonna look at some income tax coming in. And then next week should be a pretty busy week. I would
We have to
say
be getting them pretty.
25,000-30,000 in next week. Taxes.
They're talking about buying it.
So I'm gonna ask the people in the finance department. So, is it a wise decision to take it out at the beginning of the year, or is it a better decision to take the short-term loan out? The people who know the budget and know our money, what is the best decision to make? I want to put it on the finance department.
We make more money on the interest rate, and myself, in my eyes, with the money we have in the bank. Instead of turning around and giving that money to a bank, I prefer to get that money back in 30 days or so, and start collecting that interest rate back in the bank.
One thing you gotta remember is, you take money out of any of the accounts, you gotta pay interest on that back.
Because we
So
earn
if
interest
you
on
take,
that money.
if you take money out of capital reserve, you take $250,000 just for, say, argument, $250 out of capital reserve, if you have dollars for in the bank, and use it for this, you can turn around and put interest on top of that, which is part of free.
Right, which is part of the discussion that we all have, you know, are we making more money on the revenue generation from interest sitting in the accounts, or?
What's my investment, what percent? 4.5.
4.5%, something right now.
You'll be more than that, more than one.
Right, in the short term you will, yes.
Okay, so at that point in time, you're losing money.
But
I think you would, yes.
But do we have enough
I
to?
know that.
I'm gonna, whatever the recommendation of the finance department is at, that's what I'm gonna go with. So whatever the finance department recommends, I'm gonna go with their recommendation.
I'll openly say I like the term, or using the money that we have now and needing the 4.5% rather than taking a short-term loan. However, as a board, we need to also recognize that it's a risk if we don't get the money back in 3 or 4 months.
That's my concern.
I mean, it's a hefty risk.
I'm gonna leave it up to recommendation of the finance department. Mr.
Just
Reporter, you had a
gotta remember one
question?
thing, if we do something like this here,
They're trying to
you
get
gotta watch
away
your
the way
guys' spending the rest of the year. I mean, the first couple of months, and nobody did
quarter.
it. I mean, seriously,
What the court approved.
it's bottom line, it falls back on you guys' shoulders, or on our shoulders just as much as the finance department. But, you know, you can go in the middle of February and worry about bills for in March, you know, not worry about the last account payables.
Next question.
And most of the bills we do in March, I'm sorry.
So the money is invested 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 1 year.
What do we have?
The money's invested. How
There's
long?
no money invested, cents in the account, but I think 4.5% interest.
Where is
Just
the,
send me a check me.
why are we buying this anyway? Just, if you're gonna make break even,
Because we eminent domain it.
what is it?
That's how eminent domain works.
So you have no choice now but to buy it?
Right.
What if you don't get the bid?
Well,
What if you don't get, if you put it at, you put it at 260 and nobody bids on it?
that is
Well, the
a,
finance department.
that is a calculated risk, but quite honestly, we've done our homework as far as the fact that due diligence in that I've been receiving calls around the clock from interested parties who I am assured are going to be willing to make that investment. Or else I wouldn't.
Well, you wouldn't know though, right? Because it's a closed bid, so how would you know?
Because it's a minimum, we're gonna have a minimum bid.
Here's a question, and I don't know if this has to do with the reserve that we're gonna go into next year with. What's gonna be our leftover here in 2025? Like, is that gonna help, could that help at all with the purchase price, or what do we, what, I mean, I'll just,
You're asking for a carryover?
yeah.
Is that what you mean? There's no way to predict there'll be a carryover. We've still too many things going on right now. I can't say definitively with that if we'll have one.
So,
Especially when she took money out already and put it into the
We've
bid.
had, I mean, our revenues are not coming in like they used to, and we're spending more than we're getting in.
How much is the taxes owed to the district? What if they don't waive it?
well, here's, I mean, okay, so we'll just talk about this. Okay, so what is the recommendation of the finance department? And that's what I'll make into a motion.
I think, why don't you just make a motion that you're gonna purchase this?
Well, we have, but we need to take, but we
No,
need,
no, we're not doing that.
but we need to make, but we need to vote how, where we're gonna take the funds out of. We just can't say we're gonna figure it out later.
No,
We
we
need
did
to have a
that
vote.
with this building, and it ended up a cluster. We had no idea where the money was coming from to pay this building when they care. We gotta stop doing that. We gotta know exactly where we're taking the money out. and where it's going.
So what is the recommendation of the finance department?
So here's the thing, I'm gonna outwardly say, like, we are forced to, we went through the eminent domain process, so we have to purchase it. So my recommendation is that I'll make a motion that we purchase the Turkey Hill property at the court, recognized, court assessed price. And we use half of capital reserves and half of our January, February expense money.
second.
Along with that, fees and books.
Any case which opens up like, I hope our necessary branches of government.
Brumbault.
Yes.
Troup.
Yes.
Ister. Savage.
Yes.
Brosious.
Yes. All right, moving on to the resolution, Councilman Brumbault.
Which one? Oh, yes. The moratorium?
Yes, sir.
Resolution?
Yes.
Yes. I have prepared a moratorium resolution relative to data centers. It came to my attention that we, as a city, were receiving some inquiries as to where we allow data centers within the city limits. At this time, we do not have a specific area set forth for data centers. And under the common law or the court findings, we have the ability to enforce a moratorium while we come up with our best plan for where and how data centers would be allowed within the city limits. Therefore, I'm asking for a motion to approve the moratorium on data centers until such time as we can come up with a good idea as to the best area and requirements for those in the city.
Do we have any idea how long the moratorium will last, or is it?
It's 180 days to start. We can then extend it if we need to.
I mean,
Or we can make it shorter if we can.
so I'm not opposed to the moratorium, but I do want to say that in some municipalities across the country, they are bringing in massive amounts of revenue from data centers. It just decides on what type of data center, how much water they're using, how much electricity they're using. But I mean, you're bringing in the profitability of a data center being housed somewhere with corporate taxes and also other local taxes that, I mean, some municipalities are frankly seeing millions of new income. So I think if we have a moratorium, that's okay, but I think we should reach out to other municipalities that have figured this out and see what they did to kind of fast track it, which I will help with because we do have some examples even locally.
Well, just so you know, the moratorium isn't to preclude them completely, but at this point, they could put one in a residential area.
Right.
So we wouldn't probably want that. So what this does, it gives us time to decide the best placement for them, and if we're going to have any requirements of them before it would come to fruition.
Any other questions? Anyone? All right, Councilman Brumbault, make a motion, sir.
Well, yes, make it a motion, number 2025/030.
I will second.
Troup.
Yes.
Ister. Savage.
Yes.
Brosious.
Yes.
Brumbault.
Yes.
Councilman Savage.
I'll make a motion for the approval of abstracts vouchers for the general fund. Well, the general fund, liquid fuels, and private grants are all zero, so a motion for the approval of payroll in the amount of $69,944.07.
Second.
Brumbault.
Yes.
Troup.
Yes.
Ister. Savage.
Yes.
Brosious.
Yes. All right.
When's the last
Oh,
day of general fund? When do you get them out, Lisa?
Well, here's the thing, I thought like in our last 2 meetings, we agreed that we would approve paying the bills and then finalize the numbers in January, but we're doing last accounts payable on Wednesday. So if you want to do another meeting to approve them, I would ask you to do these on Monday, so it can be signed and out the door by Thursday.
Last year.
I think we did a voice vote.
we'll do that.
But can we do it Monday, not the 31st, because I'd like to have
That's
them
fine.
done, signed, and then
That's
out the
fine.
door, thank you.
So move on to discussion, the budget. So obviously we just had big purchase this year with the,
Are we gonna vote for,
sorry, with the IT stuff. Does anybody see any big purchases coming up in 2026 that we don't get hit? Like, oh my gosh, we have this big bill coming here that now we gotta scramble to find the money for. Because it seems like we do that at times, like we know stuff's coming down the road, but we just keep kicking the can, and then, oh my gosh, now we have this big purchase we need to figure out.
Well, Josh, that's kind of one of the things I was like thinking of changing, or not changing, because I can't change big purchases.
Understand.
But, like, trying to figure out a way to, the communication a little different for what we know is coming or where we're gonna be going and know what to look for.
But kind of like having that strategic management plan, you know, that we always talk about that never do, that the chief, we did it, but you know.
Yes, there are a lot of things we can do to try to make that smoother sailing.
But you know, it's one of those things, like, we have to start planning long-term wise, because at least as you just said earlier, like, we're spending more than we're getting in, and like, this year, we had a lot of employees leave, like, I know in the police department, we didn't have how many full-time officers, we had how many people leave the code office, we had the city administrator leave, and like I said, all their salaries were in there, and now we're like, oh man, we're barely gonna make it at the end of the year. So, and you know, as in the email, like, you know, in 2023, we're $169,000 short. In 22, we were $269,000 short. And like, no one, we're not even worried about it. So like, we better get worried about it, or else we're going to be in major trouble here one day. So it's like, we can't continue to operate on the financial terms that we're operating, or else we're going to be in major trouble.
I don't think it's that people aren't worried about it.
But like, for example, was anyone aware in 22 that we were short $269,000, and where'd that money come from? You know what I mean? Like, or like, how do we pay those bills? And the year after, like 159,000, we were short. Like, where'd that money come
We
from?
also got off February, January expenses. We had a lot more money in that. We had over $1 million in it at one time. And it keeps going down over the years. That's where that money came from.
Well, no, which I get, which I understand, but like, but for the last 4 years, like, we continue to do the same type of budget, we can keep doing the same amount of stuff, and like, we're not saying, but then last year, we were a good 21,000. So is this like, are they just big purchases that we didn't plan for, or is it our normal operating expenditures that puts us over? So like, where does the overage come from, I guess is my question. You know what I mean?
It's a combination of everything.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not just money. Salaries go up every year.
But we account for them in our normal budget, in our, how we get a balance.
When you give raises out there, you
year to year.
But we always ask each other, hey, is it in our budget? And we always say yes, so is somebody lying, or?
Budget and actual are two different things, and that's what you have to understand, okay? So when you're looking at the budget, okay, so you saw the report run that was just done the end of November.
Yeah.
Okay, so it shows that, say for example, police, based on the budget, is at 87%, you should be at 92%.
Correct, yeah.
Okay? That's fine, based on the budget, but on actual, for dollars that are coming in, you're not there, you're over, okay? No, I'm not saying you.
Yeah, no, you're saying as an example,
The
yeah.
city is over, based on dollars that are coming in. The actual dollars compared to the actual expenditures, the actual revenue to the actual expenditures, we're over budget.
I mean, what,
But it's not always expenditures. Revenue is a factor too.
As I said.
Yeah, well, and this year, I think the budget process, the budget crafting process itself also looked a little different, because we did focus on what the realistic actual revenues were over the past couple of years, rather than what the projected revenues were, because we weren't meeting the projections.
And, you know, and there's other ways to look at this, and, you know, and I know you guys don't like to talk about it, but this is another way of thinking out there, that you have to raise taxes a little bit each time in order to keep with inflation. And to keep paying the expenses. If you're gonna give raises out, you've gotta increase revenue. You can't, unless you're gonna cut expenses someplace,
Which
please,
we
let us
did.
know.
What you do when you raise taxes, we have 3 rolls to go yet, and that's 150.
well,
But you don't go.
So we're getting.
do you think, like, I know like the chief gives a report, do you think we could get a report from the finance department saying, hey, I'm just making this number up. We have brought, I'm making this, all right, end of January, we brought in $1 million, but we spent 1.5.
We have a revenue.
But no, I'm saying that, but like,
You get that.
You get something from Kathy that explains everything to a T. I mean, Kathy's more analytical than any of us put together when it comes to her numbers.
but
And
but
she
I'm not
sends
saying.
it to you all the time.
I'm not saying that, but if we're over, which I'm not saying, we're all guilty of it, but like, it just seems like nothing gets brought up here at council saying, hey guys, like, our expenditures are outdoing our income, and we just keep.
I don't think that's necessarily true, because I know there's times that Lisa and I both said, and I know Kevin was in there too. We said, every time you guys come up with one of these plans, if they're gonna do something, we always ask the same question, where's the money coming from, and how are you gonna do this? Every time we're hiring people or giving out raises, we ask the same question.
And then when you ask them, you know, where
Well,
does
it's
it
in
come
the
from,
budget.
and things what you're spending,
Yeah.
next day, we're getting a bill in for some new thing. I mean,
Look at the spending that just occurred this month.
Well, no, like I said, I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying, but like, it's nice to know, like, hey, like you say watch your spending, which Kevin, I know, you always say watch your spending, but it doesn't say that we're $500,000 over or under, like, and like, maybe that's my fault, I have to dig into it more and look at the numbers more, but it feels like the numbers are never said here, so everybody knows what's going on. I mean, that's just my own opinion, I'm not saying it's the right one or the wrong
Well,
one,
you
but.
know, if you sit there and you look at the expenses and revenues coming in when you get a report, like, every month when you get it, you should be able to tell where exactly where you are. That explains everything that we brought in and everything that we're spending for that month, for a year to date too.
Yeah.
So it's easy to say, hey, listen, you know, we've already brought in 2.5 million, but hell, we already spent 3 million this year. I mean, the numbers are there, they don't lie.
It's not always what your budget is. Right? Just because you have some money, or, you know, your budget shows that you have enough money, doesn't mean you go spend it.
So are we coming up short because all the revenue is not being paid in? Is that how we're coming up short? Because if things aren't being paid in, like, we have to go after where we're not being paid in. Like, for example, in 2024, we had 40 unpaid rental permits. How many of the skill machines or these other machines were not paid for, and we just keep pushing it down the road, we don't go after them? Like, is that where we're coming up short, that we have the
I
shortfall?
don't think you can.
I'm just using that as an example.
Well, Mayor, that is one example, but like another example that we talked about during the budget process was the tax revenue was falling, but the income from Parks and Rec was higher. So like that was also able to subsidize some of the lost tax revenue because we had so many people coming into the city that were going to Parks and Rec, and they were also doing activities. So I think, yeah, you have one piece, but then there's, you know, other pieces of what the actual tax revenue is, but then also, you know, what do the police fines look like? What do parking tickets look like? What do tickets for street sweepers look like? I mean, that's all revenue.
Yeah.
How much are people paying for admission at the place? How much are people paying on our fee schedule that we set? I mean, those things all come into revenue.
Plus, you know, you gotta include what the economy's like too, you know, people right now are struggling for money, so, you know, they'd rather put food on their table and maybe, you know, pay their $50 rental permit.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a business, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if there's an area where we can improve, like showing that we're not collecting it, you know, I'm just asking those questions, but.
Well, I think the area you need to, the two areas is you need to watch the revenue, you know, make sure that it's collected. But on the other side too, I think you need to watch expenditures. You just don't spend money for the sake of spending money.
Yeah, I agree.
And that tends to be that way a lot. You know? Look at your debit card usage. Go down your debit card usage and look at what you're doing on there. And ask yourself, did we really need to do that?
It's my fault.
I mean, what we spend on debit cards is ridiculous. And half the stuff doesn't need to be done. You know, that's just crazy. Listen, Cole's Hardware makes a lot of money off of this.
Supporting local business.
Yeah, but we don't need a screwdriver every time somebody can't find
Just 40 hammers.
one. Or a hammer. I don't know how many hammers we have in the city, but I think we have one for each resident.
We're just giving back.
Seriously.
But Josh, I do think, yeah, I mean, like, so are you asking for a different format? Like,
Well, no, it's not, it's just not that, it's just like, I feel as if like, we just continue to do the same thing, and we're just hoping it gets fixed one day. Like, if we're in the hole, like, which is fine, then we gotta acknowledge that we're in the hole, and then next year saying, all right, hey, I'm making this number up. We were in the hole $50,000. Like, we know, we're in the hole the last 3 years, $50,000. All right, then we can't say, all right, we're gonna keep the same amount of expenditures and expect it's gonna change the following year. Like, we have to be honest with ourselves. And that makes it either we're gonna raise taxes or we're gonna cut someplace. We just can't continue to doing the same thing. It's like,
How many raises?
We
The
did,
biggest area you got is payroll.
we
Yeah.
did make some adjustments, like when going into this budget.
Yeah.
I mean, we're being more realistic with not using the numbers that we've used all.
yeah, using the trends for the
Yes,
last
because you
5
have to
years, for
start
example.
using certain things. I did think, I did discuss, I think it was Nate and I talked about it, and I mentioned even it with Kevin, that going into next year, we probably should have quarterly conversations and meetings on, here's where we're at, here's where you're at, here's where we need to be,
Mhm.
because that also keeps us in the right direction.
Yeah.
It gives us ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I mean,
So that's
Jerome
already
and I had
been,
this conversation.
that's, yeah, and Jerome and I have talked about many different ways we can go forward. But there's a lot of things we can do starting in the new year, and we just have to, we've sat up here many times and said we're gonna do a lot of things, we have to actually do those things. So we have to be able to meet in January, and we have to be able to meet in March, and we have to have realistic expectations when we have those meetings. Just like when we do a budget, it has to be our needs and not our wants, and compromise somewhere in the center. But I think we can easily get a handle on things, we just have to work together to do it.
For sure.
See, I think when you're doing this stuff, that you have to look at two things for sure, and then work your way down from there. First one is your overhead, to operate it, like your electricity.
Things you have to pay.
That you gotta pay.
And those
And then the
are
other
responsible
is
for
your,
electricity
and
and
your
stuff.
salaries, okay? After that,
It's discretionary.
then everything else is discretionary, then you gotta make a decision where you're gonna spend it on.
And I think that's how we gotta start looking at our budget.
And that's the whole, because the city budget is a city budget.
Yeah.
This isn't police department or parks and recreation or, department, street department,
With hammers.
or any police that falls. But anyway, you have to look at it that way, you have to make a decision, and you have to do it for, based on what you guys want to do when it comes to taxes and things like that.
Insurances and our utilities are,
Like I always said, we have a pile of money. That's it. It's not yours, it's not Jim's, not mine, it's not Nate's, it's a pile of money. That's what we need to pay, that's what we need to pay bills. I've said that all the time.
I mean, you can look at this on a quarterly basis, don't talk about it on a quarterly basis, but you have to understand, departments, especially one department, is going to be skewed off at different times, because you don't have anything from like March to April or May, right?
I mean, income-wise.
Well, income, and you probably don't have as much expenses, because during that period of time, you're not really doing much, other than getting things ready for the next payroll. Yeah, basically.
But historical trends are gonna show that. You're gonna show, hey, January,
you have
The
to
thing
look
the
at
thing with
that.
Jim, the thing with Parks and Rec with Jim is that from January to the end of March, you got a fair amount of income coming in because of race game. And then from, what, June, I guess?
Yeah.
June to the end of, to the middle of August, you got a set amount of dollars coming in, and then you got a break again, and then, what, October to December, basically. So, I mean, there's times in there that you're not going to have a lot of different stuff, so when you just look at it, you gotta factor stuff in for that, because you just can't say that, oh, well, he's under budget here, or he's over budget here. Well, he could be a little bit over budget at the end of March, but.
it's gonna be made up later on, because, but like I said, historical trends will show that, hey, you're in
It can, if you look at this.
Well, it's the same way with the finance department. I mean, they get hit hard at the beginning of the year because of insurances and rates and stuff like that. And they're always over budget, every time you want in April, May.
Yeah.
It all balances out at the end of the year.
All right, anyone else on that one? All right, so moving on here to the code clerk, and I know this has been a hot topic here, but I know, like, I'll include Andrew in the conversation here, but like, what are we doing with this position? Because we're going about a month and a half in here with no code clerk. Robin and Jeff been running around crazy. In the beginning of January, we need to send out 2,400 rental permit notifications. We need to send out the new skill machine one. We gotta send out all these things, and money's gonna start coming in, collecting it, and we have no one in that front office yet to sit there and take those paperwork, the fees, the phone calls, or anything. So what are we doing here? Because we have people who apply for applications. I know Jeff sent out an email saying the different information where people are interested in working, but we still haven't set up interviews yet to get people rolling here. So, like, what is our plan? Because come January, that office is gonna be moving, and there's gonna be money flowing in that office, and there's nobody there to do anything yet. So what do we wanna do here?
6 weeks ago, we asked for a clerk or help in the code office. Everybody said, wait.
So-
We waited. Now here it is, the end of December.
Yeah.
We're taking applications for it, aren't
We have
Second
applications, but we haven't
application.
scared any interviews yet, and
No interviews.
Well, the emails that I was in, the applications didn't quite get to where they were supposed to go until pretty recently.
like I said, there's stuff there, like, we're, like,
Well,
okay.
if there's 400 applications and they don't get to the desired target, then I mean, then we have 400 applications sitting in job purgatory. I mean, like, they should have been sent earlier So I think now we can work on getting interviews scheduled.
Okay, can we at least get them scheduled here in the next week so we have someone get in here and start getting trained so we know what they're doing here? Because like I said, come January, there's 2,400 rental permits being sent out. People are gonna start coming in, paying their fees. This stuff has to be logged into the system properly because that was not done last year and that's being looked into. And we said that's money that has to be logged properly. Fees have to be collected at the correct rate. I'm just saying, we can't continue to wait and wait and wait. So Angie, can you get with Jeff and get interviews scheduled? Because like I said,
I can get interviews scheduled, but my main concern is, and I think I've expressed this before, is there is no training plan at all established, and I think that's important to get the right new hire off on the right foot. And I want a training plan or some sort of training structure for our current staff so that they are equipped enough to do the job. And this is for a service for them too. It's not saying they're not incompetent, it's just saying that they might need additional training to get, okay, I can do it on my own, and that's great, that's perfect. And that's my concern. I don't wanna hire somebody, put them in the office, then sit there and not have no plan. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of taxpayer dollars.
well, you have someone here with Robin who worked in that office for 7 years, and you had Jeff who ran the office for a year and a half and who's helping now, according to Mr. Birnbaugh, get those two trained. Like they have the training on how to do the court, how to log stuff there. So you have people who are willing to help if you want them to help. So they're there for your access if you shall choose to go in that direction for the training, because they know what to do. They've been running the office, helping Mr. Birnbaugh, helping Lisa and Vince for the last 2.5 months. So like I said, that option is there with Jeff and Robin to help get that person trained, set up to do those things, if you want to go in that direction.
I'll definitely entertain it, but I'm also have meetings with Joel and Jackie to see about trainings when they go to court and just trainings in general for iWorks and how to assess properties in general. So that's happening shortly. So.
Okay, thank you.
Also, Lisa and Vince, just to address you guys directly, like, thank you for everything. Because these are not, like, when we're debating this kind of stuff, I don't want you to think that we're, like, having issues with your work performances. Like, we understand that it's short staff, we understand that some of that's a result of our decisions. It's just the nature of the beast of having elected representatives that oversee offices, and things are changing. But I do want to just tell you as a council person, I do respect what you guys do, and thank you for it. So,
Thank you, Mayor.
yeah.
But that's exactly what it sounded like, that we're incompetent. Well, you just heard the money that we brought in versus last year.
That's not, I didn't say you were.
Well, that's not what
I was just saying.
But that's
that
just
if
what,
there's
that's the
areas that
impression that I just
If there's
got.
areas that you need more assistance for education on, it's to provide that for you.
Maybe
So-
you should sit and
because-
talk to us and see what we know about iWorks versus hearing other people say what we know and what we don't know.
That's good, but I'm just saying, if more training for you to be more proficient in iWorks or any other area, if you need it, it needs to be readily available. So
Okay.
to throw somebody new in there, but then you to take them around or to train them on iWorks, and you're
Right.
like, I don't know, it's still throwing,
Right.
it's a waste of
So
money.
you
So that's,
did
it's not
you-
against you, it's just saying that
Okay.
if you need more assistance or education in any area, it's to serve you and to build you up as a leader in the city,
Well, we'll
And the new
expect you to
person.
know iWorks too, so we can come to you for help as well.
of course, yeah.
All right, we can get that going. All right, so moving on, for another discussion here, council, it was sent out, we did receive a letter from SMA about their January 6th meeting for discussion of the fluoride removal. So all of council is invited to that. I hope for the individuals, I hope everyone does show up and express their thoughts and opinions on that as well.
What time does the meeting start?
I 6.
And who's speaking at it? Is it just the boards?
It's just regular board meeting.
Okay.
You'll be able to, under discussion.
Thanks.
Any questions on anyone? The super investigator. All right, and this, moving on with the, any questions on this, on that one? All right, and this, moving on, finishing out here, the community service update here. Like I said, Jeff and Robin, run that very thoroughly through the office. So as of date to this year, they have logged over 2,700 community service hours through Bucknell, throughout the community, and people wanting to help out. So like I said, that was the first year of doing that here with them, taking the lead on that. We also have people looking for next year to get the community service hours in there. So I just want to let the public know that they really took the bull by the horns with that community service program, and they got a lot of stuff done within the city that we just didn't have the manpower to do. So that's pretty much an update. And moving on to announcements, New Year's Eve at the rink will take place, which is free, on December 31st from 1 o'clock to 3:30, and then later that evening with SRI with downtown starting at 5 and going to
6:30?
6:30. Letters of interest for the following boards: the Civil Service, there's 1 opening; the Housing Authority, 1 opening; 2 for the Redevelopment Authority, 1 for HARB, 1 for zoning, 1 for the Rec Board, 2 for planning, 3 for the Board of Appeals, 1 for blight, and 1 for the Municipal Authority. They should all drop their letters of interest to the mayor's office or send Jeff an email by noon on January 7th of 2026. All city departments will be closed, and the ice rink will be closed on December 25th and 26th for Christmas, and January 1st and January 2nd for New Year's. The swearing in of the new elected officials, the mayor, Councilman Troup, Savage, Ramos, and Treasurer Martina will be held here at City Hall at on January 5th at the 2nd floor council chambers at 5 p.m. Then the next city council meeting will be on the 12th at the normal time, and then we will have time to pay our bills at the end of the year, which will be on Monday. Correct, sir. Is there any other announcements for anyone? All right, is there any public comment at this time? Any public comment at this time?
Actually.
Oh.
I had someone call today. I know we started this the end of last year or early this year. We do have our snow angels shoveling. So if you know of anybody or your elderly neighbor can't shovel their snow, let us know. We will try to get them help. We cannot guarantee it, but we have someone doing community service for us down there.
Any other public comments at this time? I adjourn this meeting.